just when I thought Trump could not get any worse, he actually got worse.
How so?
I was watching like last week, I think it was like last Thursday night, watching the news, and they said like one of his closest aides, Hope Hicks, right, had gotten coronavirus, and they work in close proximity to each other and what have you. And so then later on that night, I'm still watching, and they said, Trump has been tested, but they don't know yet.
That was the setup.
Then they come to find out that him and his wife have it. Right? So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of major. And to the point where the next day, they said they have to be flying this man in a helicopter to the hospital. And then the same way he was walking out of the White House, he didn't look like himself. And so the more I watched, I was like, this man is, 74 years old, like clinically morbidly obese. That's the category that he's in. All the risk factors for coronavirus. And so, so now I'm thinking, man, this man could really dead. And then, it's like, that's a, no, but so, I don't wish that on people, right? And I did a video about it. I don't want sickness, death, not even my worst enemy. I don't want sickness, death on anybody. But I thought it would wake him up at least. But, so by the next, now he went to the hospital and, he had the doctors say all these drugs he's taking. And from listening to the doctors who are analysts on TV, they said just by the names of those drugs, they know that it's pretty serious. And that the fact that they're giving them all of them, some of them haven't even been approved, but, under special circumstances, they can take it. They say, he probably has, COVID pneumonia, which, a lot of people die from. So whatever they gave him, whatever they drug him up with, he got to the point where he could start talking shit again. Right? So, so it goes beyond that, right? And he, like on Sunday, he takes like a joyride around the hospital to wave the supporters, putting the Secret Service at risk of catching, he's still infectious. And so now I think yesterday, he checked out of the hospital. I said checked out of the hospital, but he really just moved to the hospital at the White House. Because the White House has a fully staffed hospital 24/7. Now, when I say how it has gotten worse is because he has gone through this and because he had access to every possible drug there is, 24/7 healthcare, all the things that 99.999% of people do not have access to. But his attitude is, it's no big deal, just face it, don't run from it. And so that attitude, which is kind of what they're doing before, but by him actually going through it, and at that point, he is going to get a lot more people killed. So I really didn't think that they could have handled this any worse than they have to this point. But the fact that he is going, look, mind you, he's not out of the woods yet. Because online yesterday that Herman Cain was trending. Herman Cain, who had gotten it, and they showed his timeline where like a week or so he was sending messages, it's no big deal, I'll be out here in a minute. And like, a few weeks he was dead. So he still has that risk. But the fact that the way that he's still downplaying it, that is even going to be more powerful to his sheep. So this attitude is going to get a lot more people killed. So, let's talk about that.
I think that it had a reverse effect. I thought that initially when I heard that he contracted the virus, I thought that, maybe it would cause him to be a little bit more cautious in the way that he speaks to the people, a little bit more cautious about, the perception that he gives of this virus. We all know that it's a Chinese virus. We all know that the virus comes from China, but you are downplaying everything else to make it seem as if you are doing something that should be elevated, and you really are not. And then you by contracting the virus, it actually made the whole situation worse. Because
Mm-hmm.
instead of him just being silly and overlooking the seriousness of the situation, no, it's extra worse, if I can
Mm-hmm.
say that.
Mm-hmm.
And to those persons who, I know in Jamaica we have die-hearted PNP, we have die-hearted JLP. And this is something that is cultivated in people because your grandparents were, your parents were, it comes down the line. And so people are die-hearted. But what this whole scenario of what has happened now, I've been watching and I've been seeing that it is actually causing some of these die-hearted people to think negatively about the party that they've always supported. And that's not really good for him in terms of his running for presidency again.
Yeah, it's a cult. That's what it is. I mean, if you're willing to dead for a man, that's a cult. That's not a political affiliation. And these people are literally willing to die for him. Literally. Dancer, what do you say? Queen Jolene.
So I don't know. I wish I knew more about the dynamics of the presidency, the White House, Secret Service, how all that works, because I still can't figure out why. One, either there is no one or no set of people that are telling him when he's doing wrong, or there are people there that are telling him and he just refuses.
Oh, they are. It's the latter. He listens to no one.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like with the Secret Service, like you said, they have to drive in the car with him and take that chance of getting the virus. And I'm like, do these people even have a choice? If I was in the Secret Service,
nope.
I'd lose my job because you're not about to have my family.
And
they have no choice.
That they have their families to feed. So what
exactly.
Am I to walk away from my job, or am I going to just do it and chance?
And even beyond the Secret Service, I mean, the Secret Service, I mean, they pledged to take a bullet for the president. So I guess they'll take a droplet too. But but beyond that, so now the fact that's he left the hospital basically because he didn't think it was a good look that the president is in the hospital. So he's going to carry that shit back to the White House. Right. So I've been hearing other people talking. So I think about who is in the people who clean up their room, people who feed them, the people who do all of that stuff. Right. They have no choice here. So they are now at risk. You can fumigate that place all you want. Trump walking around spitting on stuff or what have you. I say that, but that's, there are literally like 14 people within White House staff and senators who have been at the White House who now have COVID. But they had like one big event in the Rose Garden to introduce a new the lady who they're trying to put on the Supreme Court. And at that one event, it's like a dozen people who were there now all have COVID. We already know he doesn't care about anybody but himself, but this just puts it to another level. You are actively shedding this virus. And you know what? I need to get out there and, play strongman for my supporters. So I'm willing, to put people's life at risk for that.
And I mean, just a quick note to piggyback on what Mika said. Like I told you guys from the beginning, as an essential worker working at hotels, since this began and with all the warnings and so many people dying and getting sick, people were still coming out and booking hotel rooms and not wearing masks and saying it's not that serious or it's a hoax or whatever. And now these same people, not necessarily Trump supporters, but these people who feel like they can't be told what to do, now they see the president coming out, taking off his mask and leaving the hospital and not quarantining and saying it's not that serious. It's going to make it even worse, just like
it is. It's going to end up killing a whole lot more people. What would it take to humble this man? Because I really thought But I really thought this would have an impact. I really did. When you stare death in the face like that, I thought it would have an impact.
About it, when you look up a narcissistic personality, nothing is going to humble them. I mean, it doesn't matter. And we've had controversial views on the show talking about him and his views and things like that. Like I honestly believe, I said I don't believe he's racist. He's just for himself. No. Again. But this just adds to my point. Okay, we have a virus that's killed over 200,000 people. Okay, let's think about the lives that has affected. Okay, there's somebody's mother, son, father, daughter. So let's say 1 million lives. Let's put him in a room with 1 million people and see, how he feels about it. Then, even then, I don't think he would back down from his views. Period. So that's not going to humble him whatsoever. He is who he is. It's ingrained in him. We know who he is. So we just need to vote accordingly. Now, unfortunately, there's people out there that are going to back him 100%. And I think they back him because they don't want to admit, I was wrong. Okay, well, now it's time. He's shown his colors. I mean, we can, I came on tonight and I said, we're going to talk about, if he had it, if he didn't. I don't even want to go there. At this
what do you
point,
think? Well, since you brought that up, what do you think? You think this was a plot?
Honestly, I don't think
media spin.
Or he had.
You don't think you think it was an act?
I think it was an elaborate plan, because the timing doesn't add up. Number one,
right?
Okay, and then number two, it was the timing was very convenient. Okay, we have a time period where debates were going on. He basically it was a shit show. The first debate. How do you bounce back from that? How do you debate again after that?
So if you think
people feel sorry
so why not
make people feel sorry?
Yeah. So why not remove myself from that process?
There is one thing about media. I went to media school. So one thing I learned is that the media frames things how they want the people to see it. And so what you're saying could actually be accurate. However, propaganda has always been in the picture from World War I, right? And because we're in the
ancient Roman days. But go ahead.
Actually, yes, really right. And because we're in the technological era now, it circulates faster. And I think that because he knows the impact that he has on people and the world at large, everything that can be done to put the attention off something negative and to shine, I don't know what kind of light it is, maybe a blue light, a green light, I don't know.
But just a different light.
Something that he views, a different light.
Yes.
On something that he views as positive. He urges everybody around him to get involved to get that done. When like in Jamaica, when an artist come in on the scene, they don't care what kind of publicity they get.
Boss.
If it's bad,
that's
you're
not boss.
If it's good, you're boss.
I show them underpants for boss.
Stop it.
Exactly. That's how
Isn't that a topic?
Yeah.
Yes, Mika, stick a pin in that. Stick a pin in that.
Yeah.
You know what?
We're actually gonna discuss that later on.
That's his superpower, so to speak. Is that he? As somebody that's somebody who that's been his whole thing, to control the media. And this goes back way before he got into politics. His wealth status has been always very important to him. He was basically gifted $400 million from his father. That's where his money comes from. But he's tries to say that's not how it came. So there's a lot that he has done, like literally calling New York Times reporters, pretending to be somebody else to talk about Donald. Like it's that important to him.
How he get his name on
exactly. So that and that's what and that like sometimes you hear I guess people say, what if Obama had done this, right? Or and as you know, I tired of hearing that argument. But basically, what his strategy is, he's going to just flood the zone with so much fuckery, right? That you can't focus on any one thing. So if one of those incidents were allowed to linger for a month, then it would be the biggest story ever. But as soon as you say, I can't believe he did this, that by 5 p.m. they're going down do something else. So it's like the analogy is trying to drink out of a fire hose.
So that basically backs up the theory that, hey, we don't know if he really had it or not.
I don't put anything past him. It's certainly possible. You know, on one hand, I think the very last thing that his campaign wants to be talking about is COVID because of how bad they have handled it. But hey, you know, I don't know. I mean, if it changes the subject for a minute, and beyond changing the subject, if it can say, look, I survived this, and you can survive it too. You can, you know. So yeah, I don't put anything past them.
They would want to talk about COVID if an experimental drug he took is the reason why he came out of it, so to say. So if they're pushing that agenda, of course they want to talk about COVID. What you mean?
I don't put anything past them. I mean, you know, they have been trying to avoid the subject because, again, you can lie all you want, but those 210,000 people know that somebody's not at their dinner table. Those 7 million people who are, you know, they know. So you can't, no line going to change any of that.
Did you see the news with the guy who lost his father and his two brothers? It was the four of them that lived together, and he lost his father to COVID and his two brothers.
Was that in Japan?
I think I heard.
No.
It was in China.
China. Okay.
Inside joke, people at home.
Whenever I get that news.
Especially.
But yes. But you see, let me tell you something. You see, when Trump gets out of the hospital, I did have a couple questions to him. You know. One of them was, did you take that disinfectant injection when you did that?
Dettol. One shot of Dettol.
You know, because in this a big stuff, you know, I said, boy, yo, turn up in my sun, make like ultraviolet, kill off a holy pipe. And you're nice. So I know if that's why when he reach back at the White House and take off the mask and say, sweet ya, and turn up in my sun.
Yeah. Clorox stock price gone sky high.
You know?
Hey, I agree.
Oh man.
What do you agree with? You agree with Say? You agree with Tex? You agree with Chris?
Yes, Tex, I always agree with you.
No.
I'm not disagreeing. I don't put anything past him. You know. So,
but yeah, I would have.
But we'll see.
Question.
But with all that said, the man could dead tomorrow. They have look at Herman Cain's timeline. He was up there tweeting nonsense, you know, and then that's what.
There's never been any problems with Corona at his rallies.
Say what now?
Hold on, you know. A whole lot of people did also say, you know, he purposely come late to the debate because he did test everybody.
Yes, right? That's true.
At the debate. So he come late because he didn't want to take a test because he know he did positive.
Oh,
right?
so that even furthers my
he definitely had it. Yeah, because the doctors, like if you watch, I mean this. I don't know if I trust him. I don't trust anybody who talk for it. Like the doctors, they will absolutely not answer the question of when did he last test negative.
Right.
Here you are as a doctor coming out to brief the public, and they ask the doctor when did he last test negative, and this man said, "Well, we don't want to talk about the past." so why are you out here? You know what I mean? So they won't answer that question, and they will not answer the question about what his chest, the scan of his chest looked like. So you know, they'll fall back on, HIPAA, this and that. What they'll say what Trump want them to say, the good news, but anything about how low was his oxygen, they don't want to touch it. So anyway, my gut feeling is that he had it. That's probably still has it, but who knows? But I don't put anything past him. I don't put anything past him, but we'll see. Let's say like day 7 or 10 is when things can go south like really fast. So
what's the name of that drug so I can buy that stock? What's the name of it?
Right?
Hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, that one.
Remdesivir.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, I don't put anything past them, but hey, this man really needs humbling. Lord, if you're listening, humble this man. Anyway.
Yeah, man, he needs prayer. A long time.
Touch and agree.
Touch and agree. Yep. Touch and agree.